They don't come with horns. They come with soft eyes, sweet promises, and an empty soul wrapped in flattery. But behind that charm, they're hollow, parasitic, narcissistic succubi disguised as lovers, friends, even family. You weren't loved, you were consumed. They studied your light, mirrored your dreams, took your language and spoke it fluently until you trusted them. Then, slowly, they began to rewrite the script. Now love feels like confusion, trust feels like walking a tightrope, and every conversation is a trap with no exit. They don't want a partner, they want control. Someone to orbit around them, someone to serve as an emotional dumpster while they play the victim in public. They pull you in with charm, weaponize affection, rewrite history, and just when you start waking up to it all, boom, the smear campaign begins. Now, you're the abuser. Now, you're unstable. Now, you're crazy. All because you finally said no. But you weren't crazy. You were catching on. See, they don't want peace. They want power. They don't want love. They want worship. And if you ever stop clapping for their performance, they burn the whole stage and say you lit the match. It's like trying to land a trick while they keep moving the ledge. You skate harder, fall harder, and every bruise gets used as proof that you were never balanced in the first place. They provoke you. They cry when you react. They break boundaries. They call you too sensitive for noticing. And when they get caught doing something grimy, now you're the problem. Amber Heard takes a shit in your bed, and suddenly you're the one getting dragged in court for being emotional. Nah, you just reacted like a sane person to something insane. They do something outrageous, then weaponize your outrage. That's gaslighting. That's narcissism 101. And if you let them twist it long enough, you'll start doubting your own instincts. You'll start believing you're broken when really, you're just finally waking up. They don't want you to stop feeling. They want you to stop trusting yourself, because self-trust is rebellion to someone who built their power on your confusion. But hear this, you were never broken. You were being drained. They turned your empathy into a leash, your patience into permission, and your heart into a battlefield they never planned to help clean up. But that's over now, because the day you walked away, not with rage, but with silence, clarity, and cold eyes that no longer beg to be understood, that's the day you reclaim your soul. And no, it doesn't feel good at first. It feels like withdrawal. It feels like grief, because even abuse can feel like home when it's what you've known long enough. You'll second guess it. You'll miss the mask, not the person, the illusion. You don't miss them. You miss who you had to pretend to be just to keep the peace. But every day that passes, the fog lifts. You laugh again, for real this time. You stop rehearsing conversations in your head. You stop shrinking your truth to keep someone else's ego intact. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you don't feel sorry anymore. Not for leaving, not for surviving, not for the boundaries they call selfish, not for the peace that makes them furious. Because the truth is, you didn't lose them. You found you. They say you've changed. Good. That's the point. You were never meant to stay soft for someone who sharpened their knives on your back. And if they call you the villain for walking away, let them. Better to be the villain in someone else's lie than the martyr in your own life. There's a moment when your brain still plays defense for them, even after they've lit every bridge behind you. That moment where you flinch at your own clarity, because part of you still thinks it's safer to be confused. But confusion was never safety. It was control. They built a maze and handed you a blindfold. They blamed you for not finding the exit. And the wildest part, you start apologizing for being aware. You start thinking maybe you were too intense, too cold, too much. But you weren't too much. They were just too committed to never changing. And the only thing they can't forgive is you outgrowing the version of yourself they could exploit. So what do? They tell people you were unstable, that you were aggressive, that your boundaries were attacks. They throw out just enough half-truths so their story sticks without evidence. It's textbook. Amber takes a shit in your bed. You react like any normal human, and somehow you're the one on trial for being toxic. You're like, bro, did we just skip the part where she left a steaming pile on the sheets? But that's how it works. They do something foul, then frame your reaction as the abuse. They break something sacred, your trust, your peace, your boundaries, then act like the victim because you didn't clap for it. That's not conflict, that's warfare. See, narcissists don't want to fix things, they want to win. And they'll drag your name through every alley just to avoid facing a mirror. They'll say you're bitter, but really, you're done. They'll say you're cold, but really, you've healed past begging. And your healing? That's what pisses them off most, because when you're finally clear, you stop dancing around their delusions. They used to be able to bait you, hook you, drain you. Now, your silence is lethal. Your peace is the biggest insult they've ever received, because they cannot feed off someone who is no longer starving. So don't backpedal just because they're uncomfortable. You don't need their forgiveness. You don't need their spin. You've already landed the trick. They just couldn't handle the footage. When you leave someone who controlled you, you don't just lose them. You lose the illusion of stability they built around your pain, the fake sense of safety, that emotional codependency dressed up as ride or die. It's not just heartbreak, it's detox, because they weren't just your partner. They became your mirror, your compass, your anchor. And now you have to become all of that for yourself. And it's terrifying, but it's real. And that's what narcissists don't want. They don't want you healed. They don't want you stable. They want you crawling back with shaky hands so they can feed off of your need. But you're done begging for breadcrumbs. You're done mistaking chaos for chemistry. So now you rebuild. Not with noise, not with drama, but with intention. Not their praise, not their attention, not their weak apologies, but with something deeper, unshakable. You build from your own soil now. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. Your peace isn't a shared asset. Your future no longer has their name written in the margins. You don't just survive them, you outgrow the version of you that tolerated them. And that's the real break. Not from them, from who you had to be in their world. So dig in, not to feel better, to build better. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You don't need closure that comes dressed as manipulation. You need you. Solid, untouchable, locked in. And that version of you, the one who came out of the rubble, teeth gritted, heart still beating, that's not just survival. That's proof. There's a version of the story nobody sees. Not the one with the fight, not the final boundary, but the part after, when it's quiet, too quiet. You're not texting anyone, no one's calling, your name's in their mouth, but your side of the story doesn't leave the room. You've lost the person, you've lost the crowd, you've even lost the identity that used to hold you together. This is the part where you question everything, where even the things that once made sense don't. Not because you were wrong, but because everything real got buried under survival. People say, trust yourself, but your gut is still recovering from how many times you overrode it, trying to give the benefit of the doubt, trying to fix what wasn't yours to carry. So now you sit with yourself. No mask, no noise, just the quiet and the weight. That's the bottom. And it's not glamorous, there's no audience, no spotlight, just you, and whatever's left when the fantasy burns off. But this is where it starts, not the healing, not the comeback, the understanding that no one is coming to save you. And that's not tragic, that's the doorway. Because when no one's watching, you stop performing. And what you build from that place doesn't need defending. This version of you, the one with nothing left to prove, that's the strongest version yet. So yeah, sometimes Amber takes a shit in your bed, and somehow you end up being the one on trial, dragged, defamed, turned into the villain for reacting to straight up madness. But that's how they work. Succubi with soft voices and hollow souls. They mimic love, drain light, rewrite reality. And when you stop playing along, they cry on cue, tell half the story, and expect the world to clap. But what did Johnny do? He didn't fold. He didn't chase the lie. He stood still. A little weird, a little wrecked, but real. He let the masks fall, let the truth speak for itself, and when it did, it leveled everything fake in its path. So let them lie, let them spin it. You don't know explanations to those who never saw you bleed. You've already cut the cord. You've already left the stage. They're still acting out scenes you stopped rehearsing. So let the evil eye fly. Let it glare from the sidelines, desperate for a reaction. It can watch, it can fume, but it can't touch you anymore. You don't need peace with parasites. You don't need to convince anyone who benefits from misunderstanding you. And you sure as hell don't need closure from a goddamn succubus. You've already won, so don't just leave. Erase the trail. Burn the mask they wore in your life. Take your story back. And this time, etch your name into it like a scar they'll never forget. Kickflip the motherfucking narrative and let every demon that fed on your silence choke on your return.
Burn this cliff and me clear the sky. Jah protect when the evil eye fly. Them can't stop what truth reveal. No one could like my soul can't kneel. Me wake up steady, heart stay warm. Give thanks for Jah through every storm. Them talk behind me full of fight, but me burn herbs and rising light. Them try to twist up my energy, but me stay cool, burn roots and tea. Me know who fake, me know who true. Me don't say much, me just pass through. Waterloo, burn me splits and me clear the sky. Jah protect when the evil eye fly. Them can't stop what truth reveal. Me walk with light, my soul can't kneel. Me burn that stress with a slow exhale. Me done with war, me done with jail. Them send them shade, but me too wise. My vision clean like crystal skies. Then yet me joy, cause them stuck in pain. But me learn from earth and built my lane. Me stay aligned, me stay on time. Jah keep me path in sacred rhyme. Burn me split and me clear the sky. Jah protect when the evil eye fly. Them can't stop what truth reveal. Me walk with light, my soul can't kneel. Me see them glare when me enter room, but my spirit chant and my split perfume. Them can't hex what Jah design. Me step in rhythm, me move in time. No shame in falling, me rise again. Turn wounds to lesson, turn lost to gain. Me hold my crown, me hold my flame. Me live in truth, me call Jah name. Burn the split and me clear the sky. Shall protect when the evil eye fly. Them can't stop what truth reveal. Me walk in light, my soul can't heal.